On a mission, on a mission that's lifelong.
The juices, the blend is on. We always in the mix,
Yo, it's the last Boy Scout with the detonator, ready to bomb shit quick for the takeover. Game over as the cord is pulled. Everything stops, time freezes, the plan's fulfilled. Watch me move, the ninja in the night, silent with my kills. Visual sights of fright, the scene so warrior story. Swing blades, swords, obtain stashes on tour. Crowds exposed, sweat glands, overflowing water through pores. Bring it to fans, jump on the floor. All I'm trying to see is hands up. My ninjas in the back, rolling Dutches up. Definitely smoke music, show them lighters up. From QB to BK to BX to LES, Dirty Jers, getting out. Bring it back to the east is wild, where everyone's original, repping their own style. Rapper in 2G, keep my style raw, fresh two-tone jeans with the windbreaker, pop lock, R.I.P. Scott LaRock. I did the WAP while Busy B Rock blocks. Grew up on Queens blocks, Marundi and C drop, concrete felt, shell toes, Pumas, suicide dives, windmills. It's that thrill in my stance, rocking gazelles, Kango, pull low, 360 waves, my ether spinning, park jam, speakers blew out in the beginning. Electricity from the street lamps to power amps. Iron on lettered sweatshirts worn by the camp. In some boroughs, you might get stamped. Heads up, guardrails, knuckle up. Cats to shoot the 5, cruise a bum rush. Graffiti era, writers with the Krylon tagging it up. Motors with motors focus clear, keeping the sound pure. While others tamper with what was started, you can't sell products to exploit a mismarket. That's them fables, balancing artists on turntables. Watch it, they control when I'm fully capable to maneuver. Hustle